Hey everybody, welcome back to another iiRcade Gamedaze Live. I'm your host, Michael, executive producer here at iiRcade. Let's get things started. Happy Friday. Kicking it off today with two different game releases this morning, right? So we had Oil as Well, a good old classic Coleco that I know people have been waiting on and asking me for a long time now. So Oil as Well, the ColecoVision version, is out officially now on the store, as well as we released Rally Bike, which is another one of those Toa Plan games. So Toa Plan's just knocking it out of the park recently for us, right? So we had Truxton release a couple weeks ago, which the leaderboards have been going insane on, which is amazing. I love the competition. I think I'm still up in third right now, so challenge me on that one. And then, of course, we've had plenty of others. Tiger Heli, I think last week or the week before that was last week, I believe it's Tiger Heli, right? There's a lot going on right now as far as game releases go for these classic titles especially, right? So let's jump right in. So we'll do some gameplay, of course. I've got my machine set up right next to me. That's why I always look to the left, because my machine is actually there. The one behind me is not turned on right now because the marquee gets washed out every time. I can't figure out the camera yet to get the marquee not to look washed out, because in person it's totally fine, but on camera it's not looking great for me. So that's probably my fault, because I'm a terrible cameraman, honestly. So I'll admit to that one. So happy Friday. See chat's already popping off. Great. It's great to see you all. Thanks for tuning in. I think Tim's Tiny Arcade says the best part of his Friday. I hope that's not true, Tim. I hope you have a better Friday than just watching me on stream. But glad to hear it. Appreciate the comments. Happy to be here. Let's jump right into gameplay, right? So Oil as Well. I'll start out with that one, right? So Oil as Well, again, Coleco title. It's kind of like a Pac-Man or like a Dig Dug kind of game, way back before even, honestly. So you're gonna go. You start at your oil well, right? So you're doing what? You got like regular mode. You got 3 different modes of difficulty. It is a 1- and 2-player game, not simultaneously. However, you can do switch off mode. So there's 2-player in this game as well, just not simultaneous. So you play as a claw, right? So like an oil drill. It's really a drill. It's an oil drill. And you're going through the round. So subterranean monsters all over the place. You got to make sure that your drill line doesn't get hit by those, but you can eat them. So, which is great. There's also bombs that come across too. You never want the bombs to touch you. And then on top of that, there's an hourglass that comes along too. So we'll see that in gameplay. The cool thing is that it's just a claw kind of, right? So the only mechanics are up, down, left, right, and then you press A or B to actually reel in your drill, right? So it's kind of a weird, interesting mechanic. It's definitely very different. So if you've never played it before, highly suggest it. It's $2.99 I think on the store too. So well worth it. Yeah. Good nostalgic classic for Coleco, in case you remember the ColecoVision, right? So let me jump on over here, bring up my other camera. Let's add this guy to stream. Let's full screen that one. All right. So this, I do have my CRT filter on right now too. So there you go. This, of course, is available for every game. Remember, in the game settings right there on the instruction screen, if you press the C button, you can pull up the game settings and see what other kind of filters and fun little goodies we have for you on there. So let's go. Let's start into, so I can, of course, regular, unleaded, premium, all the good gas types, because everybody's clamoring about gas right now. I figured it was a great time to launch Oil as Well, right? So let's go into regular mode. Pull this over here too. Maybe you can hear me better. So I'm actually this claw right at the top here. You can see me going across. You can pull it in with A or B. I'm going to eat this hourglass, get some more time. So you can't actually move. You can move left or right. However, there we go. Of course, I'm going to die bomb right there. But you can move left or right, up, down. But to actually go back and reel in your line, you have to hold A or B. So there you go. Reeling it in. Eating the little globs. Collecting my oil. Replenishing those reserves, of course. Nope. All right, subterranean monster touched my line on the very left side, if you can see that. So this game is super difficult, by the way, too. Super challenging, but super fun at the same time. Definitely like just a very different type of gameplay mechanic, which is really cool. Eat that guy. Bring my line back. I'm totally missing that. There we go. So the longer you press A, clearly the longer your line goes back in. And this game is crazy hard now. Eating the monsters, catching up in time. Go 2 for 1 right there. All right. Of course, I'm touched by a monster. Generally speaking, though, that's my high score for now. Wow. 31-30. Not great. Not great at this game. But that's the general premise of the game. So there you go. I don't need to do too much of Oil as Well. It's a simple game, but at the same time, super, super fun. Again, highly recommend picking it up for $3. It's great. So well worth it. And it is definitely, as you can tell, it's a challenge. I'm pretty okay at games. In case you people didn't know, I'm actually pretty okay at games. I'm like 5th in the world right now for Truxton, on top of not just iiRcade leaderboards, but like world leaderboards, right? So we're doing really good in Truxton. So I like the competition in that. So Oilswell, check it out now. It's available on the store. It's right there at the top in the recently released section, the recently added section. There we go. So second column down. All right, questions on Oilswell. Let's see here. Let's see. If you're having issues with the controls for Oilswell, technically speaking, it is working as intended right now too. The difficulty comes in with ColecoVision games sometimes. If you've ever seen a ColecoVision controller, right, it looks like an old school phone, like an actual telephone, right? It's got a dial pad on it for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it's got, a pound sign, not a hashtag, but a pound sign, right? There we go. And then an asterisk or the star, right? So pound or star would be the other ones. And then it's got a little dial knob on it, right? So these are actually dial knob games. So very interesting to sort of convert these over to a joystick, right? They do work out. Sometimes it is a little bit rough. But we'll work on that. Yeah, if you're having a lot of issues on that, we can look into that a little bit more too. I played it myself too. The general best thing you can do is make sure that you're holding down before you hit the actual down spot, because the collision on these things for this old game is way different than a current gen game. So make sure that you're actually pressing down beforehand, and after that you should have no trouble. So just make sure you're sort of anticipating your move just slightly ahead of time. It's kind of how you play the game. But yeah, so I totally feel you on that one. It can be difficult at times, but yeah, we can look into that a little bit more. Otherwise, though, totally playable, totally fine. Just as a heads up on that. Scan lines. Awesome. Yeah, I've got my scan lines on, of course. It is definitely less than a beer, Punk Rock Dave. I hope everybody had a good St. Patrick's Day. If you were celebrating yesterday, too. Not wearing my green today. I wore it yesterday, too. We did some Guinnesses and stuff in the office. So, and of course, here in Chicago, famously, they dyed the river green, right? So there you go. But yeah, I hope you're all celebrating responsibly, I should say, too. Let's see. Global leaderboards for Oilswell. Maybe. So global leaderboards are trickier for Coleco games. You'll notice that there's no ColecoVision games that have global leaderboards. It's because they lack a certain file type specifically. Can we add it in later on? Anything's possible. We might be able to do it. We can definitely take a look into it. It's not like we haven't honestly looked into it already. It's just a challenge, and it's kind of been pushed off, totally honest. But maybe down the road, we'll see some of these older ColecoVision titles getting leaderboards too for global leaderboards, because I know that's a huge aspect of it. In fact, that's the name of the show today, right? Competition, right? Competition is getting heated. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But yes, we'll see. We can look into adding leaderboards to ColecoVision titles. They're different than arcade games versus modern games, right? Coleco are actually a very specialized type of game on our system. It took a lot to port those over. They're not the same as arcade games. So that was a very special kind of software that we got for that, which is cool. Good to know. But yeah, we'll see about looking into leaderboards. Why not? And of course, again, trust me, I've looked into doing leaderboards for every single game on the system. I promise you that. So it's not that they haven't been looked into. It's just that some are much more difficult than others. Again, you got to pick and choose your battles as they come. Any updates on Space Invaders? No updates currently on Space Invaders, unfortunately, Todd, for right now. But stay tuned on Space Invaders. Hopefully I got some very good news for you coming pretty shortly in the upcoming weeks here. 21st in the world on Truxton. Yeah, 21st in the world on iiRcade boards maybe. So, but you can compete for not just iiRcade boards too, right? Top of the iiRcade boards right now, I think, is actually, technically speaking, if you're going by, oh my gosh, I cannot remember. Somebody post me the right company that does the actual world records for arcade games, because I can't think of it. It's going to bug me. Somebody's going to post it soon. Anyway, they don't necessarily, because we're not the actual machine, they don't recognize their scores necessarily, but because we are like one-to-one arcade emulation, technically speaking, for me, it counts. So in my book, but some of these scores on different boards, especially for Truxton, are actually up there in like top 5 in the world right now, which is kind of cool. It's really cool to see. Tropical Angel, I think that Todd, if Todd Freeman's watching right now, I think, yeah, Twin Galaxies. Thank you. Twin Galaxies. So Twin Galaxies, unfortunately, doesn't recognize us because we're, technically an emulated system and things like that, right? So we're not the actual arcade machine, which is what they prefer. But we'll see, maybe one day. But yeah, I think Todd actually has the Tropical Angel, like literal world record, like the actual world record, which is pretty crazy. And I'm telling you, with dip switches and stuff, we actually tend to gear dip switches towards the highest end possible. So except for the fighters, we put those usually in the middle. So we do control that. We do lock it for leaderboards and things like that, of course, or else we'd have to have dip switch settings. For each different leaderboard setting, or each global leaderboard would have to have its own dip switch settings, which maybe we'll get to one day. Who knows, right? So it's just not there currently. Yeah, until that happens, it's not there, right? So But yeah, things are heating up for these record boards, and I like it. These leaderboards. All right. Let's move on to the next title, actually, unless anybody's got questions on Oils Well that I might have missed. Sorry, I do miss questions in the chat sometimes. It scrolls real quick on my end. Got quite a few people from 3 different platforms coming in here. Oils Well plays like Anteater. Yes, that's the other game that I would compare Oils Well to. So yes, if you played Anteater, very, very similar to Oils Well. All right. Let's move on to the next title then, right? So, good old Corrupt Neuron in the chat here, competing on the leaderboards with me left and right, just stomping me. It's fine. So next game would be, let me switch it over here. Actually, let me reach real quick. Get over here. Just going to stay off camera. Yeah. All right. Rally Bike. There we go. Terrible names today. It happens sometimes. There's a lot going on here. Sorry if I'm a little scatterbrained. So Rally Bike is another Tower Planet Tatsujin game. So it is a racer, technically speaking. It's a top-down racer, though, right? It's a vertical top-down racer, right? So it's almost like a shooter in a sense, or a shmup. So which is kind of cool. Let me pull it on screen for you all here. Let me know if it's too loud, by the way, because it's very hard for me to tell when I can't actually hear anything. So you're looking for leaderboards. I know Oils Well didn't have it. However, Rally Bike definitely has global leaderboards, and it's extremely difficult, honestly, to get on in this game. So here you go. So if I press A, I'm going to speed up, and then you can see I'm kind of capped there. To actually get past that maximum and hit your maximum speed, you have to press forward. So there you go. That's what I'm doing there. So this game is all about controlling your speed. B is going to be your brake. A is accelerate. And then, of course, if you let go of A, I'll slow down. B is going to slow me down even further. And again, if I press forward, I'm going to speed up even more, hit that maximum speed. That guy already just crashed into a tree. Oh, gosh. So there's fuel coming up. This game, you do actually – oh, no, I already crashed. So you do have a fuel meter in this game. That's really what makes it very difficult. You got to strategically make those stops so you can actually fill up right here. Here we go. Let's put it in the pump. It's probably costing me like $100 right now to fill up this bike. Something insane like that. All right. So cruising along right here too, dodging not just obstacles, but other players, or really, for me, apparently not even dodging them at all. So you got 3 lives. This game is a 2-player game. However, it is, again, not a 2-player simultaneous game because you can tell the vertical screen right. You can't really fit 2 players on here. I swear I didn't hit the brick, but apparently I did. All right, I'm getting there though. This game is extremely difficult. It has a good high learning curve. However, once you actually sort of start to master it, you'll get moving real quick, and it's super enjoyable. The music is really good too. Soundtrack's fantastic. The pixel art's actually really good in this too, especially for the time this game came out. It's like, it looks beautiful. Super high quality for the color depth. Super addicting game too. So again, if you like racers and stuff, also shooters. If you like shooters but you don't really want to spam the button, this is kind of a close kind of game, honestly, for shmups. Just as a racer instead. But instead, it's all about dodging, right? You got helicopters, you got trucks, you got cows right there. Running out of gas, there we go. Hitting bikers left and right. At least I didn't hit the cow this time. All right, so that's Rally Bike, though. Again, another Tower Planet Tatsujin game coming at you. Remove that real quick. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Rally Bike, super highly recommended. I think $7.99 right now in the store, currently available. It's fantastic. So it's just it's a really challenging game, but it's a really rewarding game as well too. I like it. I enjoy it. So have some fun. If it's not your cup of tea, plenty of other games in the store, right? We are almost at officially 300 games in the store now, which is great. I love it. Any questions about Rally Bike that I can answer? Can you punch people like Road Rash? You cannot punch people like Road Rash in this game, unfortunately. It's not a violent game other than just driving your bike into other players, I guess, too. And you can't hit the cows, so know that. It's a very, very family-friendly game, I would say. Yes, no hitting the stakes on the way there. All right. Yes, Road Rash is never an arcade game. That's right, by the way. I played it on Sega Genesis growing up, too. But yeah, not really a comparable game. Anyway, Road Rash is much more of just a straight-up racer. There's a lot more strategy going on in Rally Bike instead, right? So again, those fuel pickups and timing your fuel, if you run out of gas, you lose. Game over. So it adds a lot to the equation besides just blatantly dodging traffic and things like that, right? And just that forward and backward control for literally having the maximum speed versus a slower version of your speed too to down gear. It's fantastic. Like it a lot. Check it out. It's available on the store right now. So any questions on Rally Bike that I can answer? Let's see. Let's add the ability to punch. I can't, unfortunately, alter Total Plantageddon's game. They made it. It's their game, not mine. I'm not allowed to alter this game. Maybe later on down the road, I'll make a different one for the system. But until then, Rally Bike's a fantastic game. All right. No questions. It's great. It's an easy day for me. I like it. It's a bright, sunny day here in Chicago, except not. It's cold, rainy, and dark, of course, as always. Welcome to the Ides of March. They're upon us in full swing right now here. Let's go. All right. So I'll move on to the next topic. That's okay. You guys are quiet today. I'm surprised chat's so quiet today. I've never seen the chat this quiet. It's slightly worrisome. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what to do with myself when I'm just sitting here in a quiet room on my own talking to myself. Chat. You got to chat with me, chat. Okay? That's the whole point here. Yeah, sure. I can do some actual Q&A right now, not just Rally Bike related Q&A. Why not? Warrior Blade, can there be an option? Maybe, potentially in the future, we might add that. Oh, I do have an update for Warrior Blade, by the way, as of last Sunday, technically speaking. We have a fix for screen filtering for Pixel Perfect on Warrior Blade. It was overlooked because, again, most of you who've played the game on our system, you can't even tell the difference because the game is so high resolution because of the dual monitor that it came in on that nobody could really notice the right side, hence why we missed it, why Taito missed it. It's crazy, right? So unless you really zoom in, very hard to notice. However, we do have a fix for it. But one caveat to that fix is not going to come in until the next system update. So until the firmware kicks in, you're not going to have that available to you. We don't want to push it just for this game. Pushing a system update of this kind of size is kind of a deeper level fix for it, for the filtering specifically, right? So we just don't want to brick people's systems out of nowhere for no reason, right? And we do have another planned update coming along very shortly in the upcoming weeks. So whenever that one hits, Warrior Blade Rastin 3 will be officially working totally fine again. But again, in the meantime, half of you have played it for over 2 hours and you can't even see anything, right? You don't even notice a difference. So not a huge deal, but again, it is fixed. Don't worry about that. And that'll be coming again in the next system update. I just we don't want to push a deep level system update like that and then just cause a lot of issues out of nowhere, because that kind of system update, it takes time for us to actually QA and test that, right? So I can't just push that. I can't just say, hey, it's done, let's go. It's not a smart decision, right? So it's okay. Other questions that I've missed in the chats? Any word on iiRcade 2.0? Again, we don't quite have a name for you yet, but very shortly we will definitely have a name for you to give out. Yeah, just stay tuned on that for the next iterations of the cabinet that you see behind me right here too. Again, this one's just a prototype. This is not even a finalized one. So just wait. Again, it's not going to change too much as far as the body goes from here. But yeah, I can tell you 100% that Dead Cells, again, will be one of the official cabinets decals that are coming with those on launch day as well too, right? So we will start doing that kind of stuff very soon in the upcoming weeks. Pay close attention to iiRcade. We got a lot going on, so stay tuned. Yeah, again, dip switch settings, maybe in the future, right? These are big updates. They take time. That's all it is. These aren't necessarily things. These are definitely possible features for us. I think I would say, again, anything's possible for sure. These are definitely features we've looked into. We do have some inklings as to how to do certain things, and maybe they'll be coming in the future. We'll see what's planned. It just takes a little bit of time, right? Again, bigger fish to fry right now. We've got online multiplayer coming. I got to put most of my stuff into that basket right now too. It takes a lot of resources. We're a small team. Update on Zhang. We tried to do. I talked about Space Invaders already. Update on Zhangpong. I don't know. Zhangpong is actually, technically speaking, being delayed by Space Invaders, if you really want to know right now. So, in case you didn't know, Zhangpong is a game that I am actually working on in my own time. So we'll get that out eventually. I know we announced that. Announced. I think it was last September, or October that I put that on because it started as a meme. And I made that game in like 2 hours one night. It's like, yeah, why not? But I know Chris Williams, if he's watching, has actually played that too. Good old Billy Wrangle himself has played Zhangpong, at least in an early prototype version. So they had a good time with that. Any other questions I can answer right now before we start moving on? Acadians, here's a question. Okay, would you consider modifying a game like Double Dragon to take out the slowdown? We modified the game to give you the slowdown. So unlikely that we would take out the slowdown. Would we give you an option? Potentially, maybe at some point, but nothing in the works that I can think of right now on that. Yeah, I mean, Double Dragon, when we first had it, was running like 60 FPS on our system. Those slowdowns are arcade accurate. That's why we added them in there, because when people were playing the game, they said, this is moving too fast. It doesn't feel like Double Dragon. So we said, oh, okay, let's fix that. So that's what we did. So we made Double Dragon specifically arcade accurate version on here. That was the whole point of it. So that slowdown, it's there for a reason, because it was highly sought after, highly requested. It's what people wanted. It's what we gave. So we'll see. I don't have any plans to change that. And if we ever did change that, it would 100% be an option to toggle the performance in that sense. Again, it's not even like a performance setting. It's a we did this to it on purpose, right? Kind of thing. So it's an interesting one. Let's see here. Samurai Showdown or Samurai Slowdown. My bad. Since iiRcade has a great library of classic shmups, shoot 'em ups in case you don't know what shmup is there a good chance you guys can release a vertical cabinet? There's a massive interest in shmups on the iiRcade. Specialize on. Maybe. We'll see. Don't know. Again, we got to get these out to you first before we even reveal any sort of other hardware that might be coming down the line, right? So let's worry about that first. A vertical cabinet, I mean, maybe. The games do play fine. We got a 19-inch monitor on there too. I get that some of you don't necessarily like black bars, but I think actually our Arcadians had an episode on the show where they showed off one of the old Zhang episodes of him playing the early versions of, I think, Truxton, honestly, is what it was, back in the day on our initial prototype units. And he'll talk about that a little bit more. The reason that we made the bezel black on all the machines on the outside is to not distract you in that exact sense, right? Because we're a console, we're a multi-cade as well. We have black, if you have black borders on a game like that too, we did it black to not distract from that play area, and it tends to work out just fine. So we'll see. But yeah, additional features like that to add just a vertical shooter machine, maybe. It's not really our style, right? We kind of like to be a one size fits all machine is how this machine works right now, right? So we'll see. Again, anything's possible in the future. I'm not ruling it out and saying no, but just keep that in mind. All right. What other questions can I go to? I'll take 2 more questions before I start moving on. Thank you, Brooklyn Menace. Warrior Blade. Yeah, that game was actually pretty hard to get just doing stuff properly, right? So it's a super fun game, and I like it a lot. I can't answer some of these questions that I see. Any update on Zhang over in Korea now? Nope. He's doing business right now. That's it. He's doing his thing. He'll be back soon enough. Okay, I can't answer anything about games not announced, of course, per usual. I'm tight-lipped. Here's an interesting question from Nikki Z. Question: have new game releases taken a backseat to online multiplayer? No. No. We do strategic releases for different titles and stuff at certain points. That's totally true, of course. Who wouldn't do that, right? As a company, who wouldn't do that? That makes sense. But that has nothing to do with online multiplayer getting in the way for a release. No. Our resources for online multiplayer are a different set of people than our resources for games. So they sort of intermingle at times. Sure, why not? But generally speaking, the people who are working, the team that's working on that is not working on the games themselves. So yeah, and of course, too, modern titles are worked on by their own devs typically, if we're not doing it in-house ourselves, which most games are done out of house for modern titles. Ones that were done in-house: Dragon's Lair 2, Space Ace, the whole Don Bluth series. I'm trying to think. Space Invaders Infinity, some other stuff. Yeah, we do some porting in-house. But yeah, no, nothing gets backseated to that. So I would say that other features potentially do get backseated to online multiplayer, yes. So looking into deeper level leaderboard things, that probably gets pushed in there. Yeah. Small teams, things happen. Again, you got to allocate your resources properly. All right. What other questions? One more question, and then I'll move on because I got some other stuff to talk about. Jeff, Mr. Jeff, I'm so excited that you finally got your MFL cab. Thank you again for those who ordered the MFL and decided to keep it from last August, right? So, because it is a beautiful cab, happy to do it. And I'm glad you finally have it in your hands. Sorry, shipping took so long. I can't control the boats, unfortunately. Poseidon getting in the way, I have no idea. It literally just took that long to get from there to you, which is unfortunate, but it's how the way works, how the world works sometimes. But thank you so much for being patient. And I'm hoping you're having a good time with your cab, right? I'll be on this weekend, jumping on some leaderboards. I guarantee it. I will have to take over the Truxton leaderboard again. I'm third right now. I'm taking it over. I'll probably get up there on Tiger Heli potentially if I have enough time. We'll see. And maybe some other games. Congo Bongo, I think I've missed it for a long time now. Let's see. No, I'm not working on the stash again. All right. With that, let's move on before I just keep delaying you forever, right? So we do actually have another game that I wanted to show off today. I'll actually just use this little guy. Hold on one second here. Handy dandy thing. No snazzy video or anything like that too. But in case you noticed the title of today's episode, right? So competition's powering up. What could that be alluding to, right? So competition's actually global leaderboard powering up. Games like Truxton, especially that we've been releasing, right? Did you think that I was done with shooters? Absolutely not. You know how many shmups that I've got in this library? There's still more. There's still so many more. There's still good Psycho shooters coming at you. There's still more Toplan shooters coming at you. There's so many shmups, and I love it. Shmups are fantastic. They're getting everybody going on leaderboards, and I'm going to bring another one to you today. Truxton 2. That's right. So Truxton 2 will be releasing shortly on the store after the show today or during the show. We'll see, right? I got to click buttons. It's a whole thing. But Truxton 2, get ready for it. I will show off gameplay in just a second here too. So if you play Truxton 1, like myself, because I've dealt too many hours into that game at this point. So Truxton 1 is notorious for being just an absolute tough as nails game, right? So a lot of that comes also from you controlling at the same time that you have to spam the A button nonstop. It's an endurance trial for that game, right? Truxton 2, however, a little bit different. Truxton 2 is actually meant to be held down for the A button. So you're actually holding the fire button the entire time. The rate of fire is rapid on it, so you can't beat the rate of fire from holding versus if you press it. Guarantee it. I've tried so many times. However, power-ups work a little differently, right? So Truxton 1, power-ups, you got orange, blue, and green. There are still orange, blue, and green power-ups in Truxton 2 as well. But when a power-up is bouncing around the screen, you'll notice it changing between orange to blue to green, back to orange. It'll cycle through right until you pick it up. So you actually control the laser type that you pick up for the entirety of the game. You can swap between them anytime. You can get bonus points if you build up enough of them, just like Truxton 1. This also is a two-player simultaneous play game too. Truxton 1 is a two-player game. However, you do switch off. Truxton 2, you can play with a friend. Play with a family member, play with a kid, play with your wife, play with your husband, play with your significant, whoever. I don't care. Your cat. I hope there's cats playing games right now. I see enough of them on the buttons all the time, mostly because the heatsink is right under the board. That's why the cats sit there. But yeah, why not? Play some games with cats, right? So Truxton 2, without further ado, let me move on over to the machine here. Let me actually put it up on my screen. Here we go, right? All right. So let me get it up here. Truxton 2. Ready, fully, and loaded. Crank up some volume. Again, just like Truxton 1, the soundtrack in Truxton 2 is fantastic. Beautiful artwork. Love it. It's a great, exciting game. Let's start this off right here. You'll notice, though, too, the high score in this game is 150,000 right off the bat. That score is tough to get. I finally did it yesterday at 154,000. Took me a few tries, though, so don't be alarmed if you don't get on those leaderboards right away. And unlike Truxton 1, let me give away some of my secrets for Truxton 2 here. So Truxton 2, go for the blue. In Truxton 1, never go for the blue. In Truxton 2, 100% of the time I would say go for the blue. Unless you really don't like it. So Truxton 2, the blue matters a lot more because you want to lock on to pretty much everything because you're going to be all over the place, dipping and dodging the entire time, even more so than the first one. And again, as you're holding the A button down the entire time during rapid fire. So this is me holding down the A button. It's going to keep firing for you, right? So that makes it even more important, especially when things get behind you. Because when things pop out of nowhere and they're behind you, luckily the blue laser will take them out. The orange beam will send down some bombs, and the green will just do a more powerful shot straight ahead of you. Is really what it does. So blue is sort of your all-around go-to, but again, it's weaker. It's weaker than the orange and the green, just like Truxton 1. Of course, you've got those crazy bombs that I'll show off in a second. Let's keep the fun going here. I sort of know what I'm doing with this game a little bit. Again, I played enough to get onto the actual leaderboard yesterday, so. All right. The other thing a lot of people don't seem to tell people in Truxton is get up in his face. Show your Midnight Cowboy. Tell him you're walking here. And make sure that the closer you are to things, the faster they're going to get destroyed. I can promise you that. Same thing in both Truxton 1 and Truxton 2. So get right up in those faces. Don't play it safe. Don't be timid in Truxton 2. That's not how you make it on the leaderboard. Let's keep going here. All right. So you're right up in their faces. And of course, as you get those more and more speed boosts, so the S is for speed. This is making me move faster. How's the volume? Is volume good for you guys? Okay. So here's like our first boss, essentially. Let's throw up a bomb right there. That's what your bombs look like. The fantastic skull explosion things. And again, this is a game too. It's rough for me right now playing in the studio where I can't hear it because my sound is connected to you guys to stream, right? But this is a game that the soundtrack makes all the difference. Crank it up. At least past halfway. I wouldn't say go to 100 in this game, but if you want to. If you want to wake up the neighborhood, do it. You can be like, who's playing Truxton 2? Because this game music is so iconic. All right. We won't go for too much longer here. We'll see. We'll let me at least die once, right? Like I said, get right up in their faces. It helps a lot. Gotta wait until that changes to blue. There we go. But again, the really big difference between Truxton 1 and Truxton 2, besides the fact that it does have 2 players simultaneous play, is going to be that you're holding down the A button, where a big part of Truxton 1, the difficulty comes in with you just having to spam it the entire time. So what's nice, though, is that I'm a lefty. So a lot of people don't know that I'm a lefty. It's really hard for me to spam with my right hand, honestly. So intricate movement, though, is pretty good for me, honestly, because my joystick is on the left hand, right? So for me, Truxton 2 is kind of more my jam than Truxton 1, because intricate movement, it's way easier for me than just spamming the button all the time. Let me see the chat here. It's hard to look over at the chat while I'm playing this game right now, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so you can see I've been going for a bit, right? 85,000 now. Oh, almost ate it right there. It's hard to talk and play at the same time. There you go. So I'm pretty beefy in power right now. I think I've picked up officially my 5th power up for blue, and that's why my lasers have doubled up in the middle there too. Yeah, this is a game you want to hold on to those bombs kind of as long as you can. You'll notice too, the vehicles in this game are pretty much identical to the vehicles in the first game. They're just, cooler art for them. Make sure not to ruin my blue laser. It's getting sketchy up in here though. All right, so we're coming up here on the first boss, and I'll definitely stop after the first boss if I survive to the first boss. You get that extra 5,000. It's getting real sketchy. There it is. All right, finally died. down below. Try to show you all the first boss battle because it makes this game all the better. How's volume? Is volume good? All right. So the first boss coming up right here too. Do some easy damage. You can see my points racking up right there while I'm shooting this thing in the meantime. Of course. Dip dodge, dive. Just keep throwing some bombs at this guy. He's got left hand shooting. He's got right hand shooting. I'm going to try to take out the left side first. Break open these little snow globe things in the front with the water. Oh no. All right. We'll cut it there. It's okay. You've seen the first boss. So that's Truxton 2. So Truxton 2 will be available in just a short amount of time today. So I hope you all are going to enjoy that one. I'll see you on the leaderboards this weekend, 100% in that one. I'll be playing that a little bit, as much as I can. Yes, boss is bang. Boss is beautiful. I love this game. And that's just the first boss, right? There's more bosses in this game too. This game progresses greatly. And of course, when you die, you can continue on with quarters, but it will reset your score. So if you're competing on the leaderboards, that's how it goes. There's no infinite coins on that one. So Truxton 2, we will get to you shortly here, right? So very hard to do game releases at the same time that I'm the one who has to click everything. You know, if Jean's sitting in front of here, I can just be in the background just clicking away, things like that, right? But to be the one who releases the games myself at the same time that I'm talking, oof. A lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes here. So let's get that one to you shortly here. Any questions on Truxton? Sports cabinet. Do you want a sports cabinet? Maybe. We'll get some, we'll buff out that sports category a little bit for you. Maybe we'll get a sports cabinet in there. It's Boys Rock. Thank you, Gunther. Trying. Mad Dad's game. Shout out to Mad Dad's, who originally took down my first score, but I think I'm above you right now on Truxton, at least. So, but I'll take you on a Truxton 2 now. So I welcome the competition. I'm excited. Yeah. So Truxton 2 is, again, it's a very different game than Truxton 1. So if you like Truxton 1 for the competition aspect specifically, Truxton 2 especially will sate that lust for climbing leaderboards. I promise you that. All right. What other questions can I answer on Truxton 2, which is going to be out very, very shortly? Any sports cabs? Again, we've got to that one. Tiger Heli, yeah, of course, another crazy shooter. Yeah, I know we've been on sort of a shoot 'em up kick recently too. It's just the way the games kind of fall sometimes. But again, plenty of other things have been released, right? Warrior Blade, Rastin Saga Episode 3. It's fantastic. Pick it up right now. Got that one for beat 'em ups. You've got also Ninja Clowns came out not that long ago for beat 'em ups. You want a different type of beat 'em up. I think that game's going to have an update coming soon as well. On top of that, we had what? We got Rally Bike today. We got Oil as well today. We had, oh man, there's been a bunch of games recently. Sports games. You got Evolution Soccer, which is a fantastic soccer game as well too. That came out, what, 2-3 weeks ago now too? I think 2 weeks ago. It's Evolution Soccer. We've got plenty. What is a Truxton anyway? I don't actually know. I forget. Truxton is not the name of the ship as far as I know, but there is a reason they call it that. Too many games. Yeah, there's a ton of games. So, and I'm loving the competition too. So I do play the games with you all, right? So I have a good time on the machine. Special non-Friday show to launch online. I don't know, Kev, you'll have to see. We'll see about launching online and the details of that too. I can tell you with online play, I will reveal one more aspect of online play. So I do plan on giving you all sort of a roadmap of games for online for at least for probably about 2 months, right? The first 2 months specifically. And after that, we'll see how many we open it up to, if it's all of them after that or still in batches. But I'll let you know which games are going to release on launch and then the following weeks after that, right? And the cadence that they're going to release in, the dates specifically on when we're going to put them live. And we'll go off that. So then you have like sort of a list of games to go off of and look forward to. So if there's a very specific title that you're looking for that's coming online and it's not in the first batch of games, I'm sure that you can find it in there and in another batch of games. Yes. We are front loading pretty heavily on the first week, of course, for good reason. We got to stress test these servers as much as possible. Again, this is releasing for online in an alpha state. I want to be very, very specific about that. This is very much going to be an alpha state of our online play when it releases, right? We want to be able to connect you and you to play the handful of games that we provide for online at that point well, right? We want it working well. And there's going to be bugs. There's going to be things to fix. Guarantee it. No worries on that. This is planned for our roadmap for the year, pretty much for the rest of the year too, for a lot of things too. So it will be fixed. Things will get better over time too. Don't expect, it to be perfect right out the gate. So lower those expectations a little bit. We are doing our best. I mean, I still want it working 100% properly, but we don't know what overloading these servers is going to do. We have no idea because we're not able to test that in-house, right? As a small team of people, even testing with like 100 people, that's not really even a possibility out the gate, right? But once we release it, it will be with all of you, essentially, right? So we're going to be looking for questions and feedback and things like that. So, but I'll give you a roadmap of games whenever we are ready to officially launch online. So far, still technically no delay, right? So haven't announced any sort of delay. Still coming. Truxton 2 has never been released on a console. I honestly don't know, Prince Malcolm. Maybe Truxton 1 came for the Sega Mega Drive and I believe Genesis as well. I don't know that Truxton 2 did, but I think it did. However, this is the arcade version. I can tell you that too. Our Truxton and Truxton 2 that we have are Toaplan, Tatsujin. These are the arcade specific versions of these games. So, all right. What other questions can I get to in the chat? Sorry, I'm scrolling through things. Trying to do so many things at once with all of you right now. Rastin 3 is a lot of fun. Glad you're having a good time, Anthony. If you like Rastin 3, whole series, 2's, 2's a little bit okay. But Rastin 1, fantastic. Rastin 1 has the leaderboards as well. Let's see here. Yeah, don't sleep on Tiger Hilly. Brooke the Menace, very true. Tiger Hilly is a great game. And that is the arcade version of that game too, not the NES version. So it might be a little bit different than you remember. So Truxton 2 will be up later today. Will it be? I did say that. You're 100% right on that. And actually, Truxton 2 will be live in, let me give you a little countdown here. Honestly, after I finish clicking buttons, it's live. So let's get this done here. All right. Immediate update. All right. Truxton 2 is officially live on the store. So there you go. Have at it. Truxton 2. It's $9.99. Have fun. Have fun with Truxton 2. I'll be playing it this weekend. I guarantee it. As much as possible, at least. Too. I got a lot of work still to do this weekend for all of you, which is great too. I don't really sleep anymore. I think it's easier or harder. So Rainwater's asking, do you think it's easier or harder to get a high score using 2 players versus playing solo on Truxton 2? Neither is going to be more advantageous. So the way that they do score, if anything, it's probably easier to get a higher score solo in Truxton 1. You do have individualized scores for each player in Truxton 2. So even if you're playing at the same time, sure, you could argue you can kind of maybe clear the board a little bit faster if you're using 2 people. But it does change the gameplay a little bit too. But at the same time, racking up that score when 2 players are eating into the exact same enemies and things like that, it takes longer, right? You got to survive longer. You got to bomb more accurately. You got to coordinate. So sure. But I would say it still adds an even different competitive aspect to this game, which is kind of cool. I thought about that last night when I was playing it as well. Trying to get to 154 on the leaderboard. I hit 154,000 as me. At that 150 mark is the low, which is crazy. But yeah, so you see a lot of 150s for a while. But yeah, this is a great question. I would say that it just makes the game that much more competitive because there are different ways to do it. And I don't think that there's an advantage to either or, if I'm being totally honest. I've played both ways now, trying to rank on it. And yeah, it does not make it any easier if you put 2 people into this game. I can tell you that. So it's a great, great challenge. But yeah, welcome the challenge on that one too. If there's a duo of 2, it's only going to count the top score out of that as well too. Remember that. So whichever player had the actual higher score in that, that's actually the score that's getting posted. All right. Other questions that I can answer. Let's go. It's 3:45 already. Cruising along today. Let's take like maybe 5 more questions tops. and then we'll move on with our lives. Let's see here. Okay, that was a great question, though. Urbors, fun question here. Urbors is asking, since you have all the games, how much space do you still have left? A lot. I have a lot of space left on my drive, and I have more games than are available in the store, including that, right? So, because of course we have to test things before we release them. So yes, no, your space, even at 64 gigabytes of space, you're totally fine right now. 128, plenty of room on that too. Maybe eventually you might fill up to 64 gigabytes. I wouldn't necessarily say later this year, but who knows, right? Depends. File sizes vary drastically between old school and modern games, especially. Most of the modern games, I think the biggest one we have is around 2 gigs. Actually, there's a 4 technically nowadays. That's the biggest one we have. The lowest one is actually only a couple kilobytes. It's not even a megabyte, which is pretty insane. I think my instructions image and background image for that game are like quintuple the size of the actual game size itself. So, and that's probably Slurpee. Honestly, I think it's Slurpee. So hope we'll get Twin Cobra. So Twin Cobra, stay tuned on Twin Cobra. Twin Cobra 2, we haven't officially like announced Twin Cobra 2 yet, I would say. But Twin Cobra, the first one, yes, has been announced. So that is coming. And in case you didn't know, Twin Cobra is the sequel to Tiger Heli. We also have another game from Toa Plantagenet called Twin Hawk. Not to be confused with Twin Cobra. They're both shmups and they're both from Toa Plantagenet, but the true successor from Tiger Heli before Truxton, same developer, would be Twin Cobra. But yeah, it's a great game too. Toa Plantagenet makes fantastic shoot 'em ups. Psycho makes fantastic shoot 'em ups. There's so many shoot 'em ups on the system that are great right now too. Rangox Guys, if you want a modern one, I love Rangox Guys. 4 different leaderboards in that game too. If this is true, it's good to know Truxton means the ultimate life form. There you go. Thank you, Brooklyn Menace, if that's actually true. If not, I'm just spreading rumors at this point. All right. What other questions can I go with? So game update. Here's a good question here from Trimcare, New Jersey. I believe NJ is New Jersey. I'm going to guess that, right? Several games on my games list say there's update available, but the games don't update on my system when selected. How do I update these? Yeah, so there's still sort of an issue in there, especially from earlier days that are still kind of lingering around that we're currently working on fixing, especially to optimize it even more so. The token gets a little bit weird. Anyway, yeah, so if that does happen now, at least there is actually an X to cancel button on those for the game updates. So you can actually remove that game from your list and hit the install button, and it'll install over the version that you have on your machine with the newer version too. So you can do that no matter what to like force update it. But generally speaking, the way game update works is that if there's an update available, you don't have to check the store or anything. You just, when you go to launch that game and play that game, instead of being sent to the instruction screen, it just asks you like, hey, do you want to update? And you'll say yes or no. If it's not a forced update, you can get in and continue playing the same version of the games you've been playing on. If it's a forced update, then unfortunately you do have to update before you can play the game officially too. We do that in some rare cases. It's very rare when we do that. But when we do that, it's typically for a very good reason, right? Like mature content ratings and things like that. Yeah. Cool. No, that's a good question though. But yeah, that is being worked on to get improved. There's also, we noticed a little bug going around potentially with the server this morning. You might have to relog. If your machine is not downloading games today, don't panic. It's okay. Literally just relog in on your device itself to your same account. You're going to get spammed a message when you try to log in again, by the way. That's typical. We do that for good reason to warn you that if you do change accounts, it will erase everything on that current account, right? So we do that on purpose. That's a soft reset for the machine. That's in case people, want to sell their machine and get a new one or do other things with their machine, remove it from their device or their account for one reason or another. Anyway, don't worry about the message. If you're logging in with the same exact account on a machine, it will not do anything besides log you back in. That's all it will do. I promise you that. So no worries on that. So if you are seeing an issue where your games, if it's just saying that you're offline when you're clearly online, that sort of triggered last night, it sounds like, when we did some fixing. Might have broken something maybe. It's not happening for everybody. It's only happening for a select few of us. We noticed it on a few machines here. But no panics on that one. Literally just log in on the machine again. You're good to go. So it'll work like normal. Not a huge deal, but again, something we are working to fix currently right now. So any other questions right now that I can answer before we head out? Let's take like 2 more questions. Can't talk about any ongoing discussions with other companies that I might be having right now for other games. This is a fun question. I like this question. Aaron Nadolski, thank you for asking. Aaron's asking, have you guys thought about doing end of the year awards for people holding the high scores, like a little plaque or something for a handful of competitive games with leaderboards? Yeah, so we actually thought about this last year. Luckily, Gunther actually kind of did it with leagues last year for us. So shout out to Gunther No Quarter if he's sitting around right now. I think he was in chat earlier. So he actually kind of did that a little bit, which is awesome. So yeah, we did sort of try to do something like that last year too. Unfortunately, it's just holiday time for us is insane. I mean, that is like no holds bar our hardest time of the year for us as a company because everything's happening at that time, right? So we'll see though. It's hard to schedule stuff like that for us, but I'd like to. Yes, that would be very cool. We've had this idea before and I would love to do that. We'll see. Maybe we'll do something else like that this year too. Yeah. With some cool prizes and stuff. If we do, I'll let you know. I'll let you know ahead of time. It's a fun question though. Thank you. Thanks for asking, Aaron. Let's see here. That's an interesting question too from Nathan Henderson. All right. Nathan's asking, what do you think is the most overlooked recent release? One that people are missing out on? There's a bunch. There's always a lot, honestly. A lot of you haven't picked up Truxton yet. A lot of you haven't given Truxton a try. A lot of you haven't given Raston 3 a try. These are really good games that people don't all the time know. Truxton's more famous. Raston 3, not so much, right? Because it never released in the US officially for the arcade machine. So a lot of people don't know it. They don't necessarily pick it up all the time too. Game is fantastic. It's like playing a movie. It's like playing Conan the Barbarian, honestly. So I love that game. That's one not to sleep on for sure. Other games, Tiger Heli. Tiger Heli is doing okay for sure. A lot of people like Tiger Heli. They know Tiger Heli. They know it from Nintendo usually, not the arcade version, but this is a very different version of the game. Really good. And it's not so much a bullet hell kind of shooter either. It is very much a tactical, strategic, kind of slower paced shmup, which is cool. So that's one. Rally Bike, highly suggest. Let me think here. Oil's Well came out today too. Oil's Well's a good one. Honestly, all the games that released recently are great. I like them all for one reason or another. Let's dig through the store really quick and let me see what's recently released. Wardener would be one as well too, actually. It looks like a goofy little platformer with Eric Cartman is what people keep calling him. But Wardener is actually a really difficult platformer to get through. That's a hard game to beat. So highly suggest Wardener. It looks a little odd for sure. I'll give you that. It's got its own unique art style, but some people like it, some people don't. But just because you don't like the art style of that game, don't sleep on Wardener. Wardener's good. Yeah, that's another Toe Plant Tatsujin game as well too. And then on top of that, Evolution Soccer. If you're a big sports fan, big soccer fan, especially 2 sports games, Evolution Soccer released recently. It's phenomenal. I would say no holds bar. That's probably the best soccer game on our system currently. Goal and Big Striker are also there. They're fantastic games. Don't get me wrong. I personally prefer Evolution Soccer. Evolution Soccer is it's a 90s game, right? So it's that. And then the control of not just passing directly to players and things, controlling the where you put the ball and everything like that too, power shots and stuff. It's got a lot of good details in that game. It's fantastic. So Evolution Soccer, other one. Great question. Tons of other gems hidden on the system too that you might not know about, right? Everybody knows certain games. Take a look through the store. If we release something that you didn't like this week, so sorry, unfortunately. I wish that you liked Truxton 2 because Truxton 2 is one of my all-time favorite games as of now. Plus Rally Bike and Oil as well. Great. If you don't like them, might not be your cup of tea, right? We're all different. Check out the store for other things, right? There's plenty of other games, 300 titles. There's so much stuff on there too. And just because you don't know a game doesn't mean it's a bad game. Just keep that in mind. That's why we put those demo videos on there too. And those don't always do it justice necessarily either too. We try our best, but sometimes it's different when you play the game, right? All right, I'll take one more question. One more question for the day. And then I'll let you all go. We'll have a happy Friday. Let's see. Is there any way I can have, this is an interesting question. Question from Norm. Is there a way to have a different nickname on a second CAD? No, not unless you have a second account. So if you have two different cabs, the nickname is tied to your account specifically. We do that for a lot of different reasons. Yes, no, it's going to be tied to your account. You can have different accounts. You can't log into multiple on the machine right now, clearly. But yeah, the only other way to do that would be to have a separate account, which would, of course, you have to repurchase the games on a second account, right? They are not tied accounts. Maybe that might be something that we can look into in the future. It's not currently available to you, but who knows, right? The robustness of our software and our OS specifically, our operating system, who knows where that's going to end up, right? So not a bad idea for sure. It's definitely something that we've kicked around before. Is it available right now? Unfortunately not, right? So, but yeah, keep in mind that nickname is very important. Reiterated this last week. I'm about to lock your nicknames very soon. Keep that in mind. Make sure that your nickname is set and it's showing up in your settings information. Okay. If it's not showing up there, change to something else really quick, change it back. This is located on the store under account and nickname. It's right there. Right. So that's all you need to do. So do make sure that's set. It's very important with online play coming. That's going to be your name, right? Plus it's your name on leaderboards. The other caveat to that, to us changing this system, is that because of this, leaderboards, if you have a score on a leaderboard that is currently not attached to a nickname, any Dragon's Lair scores, they will be erased when we switch over the leaderboards to go off of nickname versus IP. This was a heavily requested feature that we got. We are going to change over to it. It's sort of been our intention from a long time. It just didn't come right out the gate. So we're no longer going to be filtering leaderboards by IP address. That caused issues where you could have multiple devices or multiple of the same account listing on a board occasionally via people's IP address being dynamic and things like that too, or people using just different internet for their specific machine, or people playing on campus on one machine on the same account as across campus on another machine, right? Same thing. So with nickname, we can very much be specific to the person and the individual on that account. That's why nickname is set up that way. This is very much like your gamer tag, your network ID. That's what it is. So make sure your nickname is set. But yes, if you have a score on a leaderboard that does not have a nickname attached to it, it will be erased in the coming weeks. So be aware. This gives you a better chance to either beat your score again right now, or take it as a challenge to, get good again, right? Play those games. A lot of this was like from a year ago, I would say, of these scores. So, have a fun time playing these games again. But yes, very much keep that in mind. So I will keep posting about this and putting more stuff, more info. But again, we're going to lock those names at the end of March. So March 31st, the last day that you have to change your nickname. After that, you can't just keep swapping back and forth through the nickname. Do make sure that it's showing up on your device, specifically in information and settings. Cool. And then after that, yeah, we're filtering leaderboards by nickname starting in April. So this again comes with the change to both global leaderboards, but also with online, as this is the account. This is your name. This is your screen name, right? So let's go back to the AIM AOL days. Why not? Get rid of those scores. Yeah, so you can replace them again. Cool. All right. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it for the day. I'll do one more question. I'll see if there's any pressing matters that I can see here. Besides P-Dub's question. Welcome, P-Dubs. When will Zhang return? I missed that little guy. Whoa, he's the same height as me. That hurts a little bit, okay? Just because I'm a short guy too. But I don't know. We don't have a specific date whenever things are done. Whenever things are done over there in Korea. He'll be back sooner than later, though, yes. So you can look forward to him. And maybe you'll see him on live again very soon. So, yep. I miss him too. Moseying about the office, meeting me for coffee every day. So trust me, it hurts me as well. But yes, we're in constant contact. It's not a huge deal for me, but he'll be back very soon. All right. Any other pressing questions? Let's see here. All right. I'll take this one from Shampoo Swan. All right. This will be our ending for the day. So what do you think about displaying the control layout again when the game is paused? It's not a bad idea. It's not currently in, and it's not currently something that I can tell you that is going to be available to you. Not a bad idea at all, though. I totally appreciate this one. This is something, again, we thought about before. Is it going to get done? Probably. When will that happen? I don't know. But again, not announcing this feature at any when it's ready. If it will be happening, we will definitely announce it then. But yeah, totally not a bad idea. just because I know sometimes you want to look at the controls, right? You get into the game right away and you're like, oh no, I totally missed the instruction screen, right? I do that all the time myself. Until then, I'll see you all next week. Have fun playing Truxton 2, hopefully this weekend. I'll see you on the leaderboards. I hope Mad Dads is still watching because I hope he's there. I hope Corrupt Neuron. I hope I see you on the boards as well too, of course. I hope I see all of you on the leaderboards, honestly. But I know those two are very competitive on Truxton with me, which is great. I like it a lot. Anybody else too? Anybody else who wants to take us on the Truxton 2 boards? I'll see you there. I guarantee you I'll be on there again this weekend. I'm at 154,000 right now. Come at me. Yeah. I hope you take some scores over me. There's no way that I'm the best Truxton 2 player on iiRcade. There's no way, hands down. So I look forward to it. There's also Oilswell. Remember, Oilswell. Rally Bike came out today. Last week we had Warrior Blade, Rastin Saga Episode 3. There we go. And again, that game will have a fix coming in the upcoming system update for the pixel perfect screen filtering on both sides. Again, unfortunately, we just can't pop that update in. It's deeper level for the filtering. I don't want to break too many systems without testing stuff, so I can't just push out an update right away. But again, that update will come very soon in the upcoming weeks, so no worries on that. Until then, unfortunately, it's just how it's going to be. So I do apologize for that, but we got the fix. It's coming. And then, of course, that's it. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day to everybody else celebrating this weekend too. Again, stay safe. If you're having a couple brews and stuff too, have one. Cheers to you. I wish I was there with you. I'll be online, seeing you all, playing with one in my own hand while I'm playing Truxton 2. So until then, I will play you out with some more. Let's go back with Truxton 2. All right. Until next week, have fun.